The galaxy was wide, quiet, and full of darkness. For many ages, no sound echoed in the cosmic void except the whisper of cold starlight. Across this endless space stretched the mighty Vorth Dominion, an alien empire that believed itself to be the only advanced force in existence. The Vorth were tall, thin beings with skin like metal plates and eyes that glowed softly in the dark. Their history books spoke proudly of victory, of worlds they united under a single banner, of systems that knelt before their rule. Over generations, their belief grew stronger. They were alone in the stars, and no one else held the wisdom of advanced science. Inside their capital, the High Command sat in a great circular chamber. Every leader wore long silver robes, symbols of important rank. Around them floated glowing screens showing maps of conquered systems. Countless dots glimmered across projected star charts. The leaders admired their own success. For many years, explorers returned with the same report. They searched the edges of known space but found no civilizations that matched their power. They saw quiet planets, young species, and sometimes ruins of old cultures that had faded away. The High Command became comfortable. Silence was safety. Silence was control. However, everything changed when a small patrol ship picked up something unusual. The patrol ship, named Sky Arrow, traveled slowly along the border of mapped space. Its crew was bored. Missions in empty regions rarely offered excitement. Officers watched screens that showed nothing but stars. They played card games to pass the time. Then a strange sound cut through the quiet. A repeating signal. Bright dots flashed across a monitor. It was not random static. It had rhythm, patterns, music, voices speaking in a language no one could understand. Officer Nareth, a young Vorth communications expert, leaned closer to the monitor. His eyes widened in surprise. He ran a quick analysis. The signal was strong, not weak. It came from far away, but whoever sent it had powerful technology. He recorded a sample and hurried to the captain. Captain Voro listened silently, tapping his fingers on the table. The sound coming through the speaker was full of life. Cheering crowds, people singing, laughter, energy. It felt warm, colorful, alive. "What is this?" Voro asked. His voice trembled slightly. He had never heard such complex information from space. "A repeating broadcast," Nareth explained. "Whoever made this wants someone to hear." The room grew silent. Officers stared at each other. For ages, the Dominion had believed no other advanced minds existed. Yet here was proof, flowing freely through space. Strict protocols required the captain to inform High Command. He sent a report. Within hours, orders returned. Investigate. Gather data. Observe but do not engage. To reach the origin of the signal, the Sky Arrow entered deeper unknown territory. The journey took several weeks. As days passed, the broadcast grew clearer. It contained many sounds, voices talking, reports of events, pieces of songs, a narrator saying strange locations. Nareth studied tirelessly. Though he did not understand the language, he noticed a pattern. Energy, creativity, passion. Finally, after a tense journey, the Sky Arrow discovered a small planet surrounded by satellites. Clouds spun gently around blue oceans. Green land spread across the surface. Billions of tiny lights twinkled at night like glowing fireflies. It was a world alive with activity. Humans, that was the name repeated often in the broadcast. Officer Nareth felt a goose-like chill travel along his spine plates. Captain Voro's eyes narrowed. They are many. He zoomed the camera lens. They saw cities bursting with movement. Cars drove on long roads. Tall towers reached into the sky. Aircraft moved across the atmosphere like silver birds. Great ships floated across oceans. Everything was bright, busy, loud, and fast. The captain whispered, "They are young, but they are quick." From orbit, the humans seemed small compared to the Vorth. But there was something powerful about their pace. They built things rapidly. They communicated constantly. They experimented with machines at an incredible speed. Nareth muttered, "How did we not see them before?" Captain Voro answered, "Perhaps they advanced too quickly for our scans." The thought unsettled him. The Sky Arrow observed quietly for several days. They gathered images, decoded more broadcasts, and studied human behavior. They watched news programs that spoke of science, new engines, and plans to explore space. They saw students building prototypes, inventors creating new devices, and scientists discussing star travel. Humans argued. They joked. They worried. They dreamed. It felt like a storm of creativity. When the High Command received the data, the reaction was mixed. Some leaders felt fear. Others laughed, saying humans looked small and unorganized. They believed humans would surrender if threatened. A meeting was called. The chamber was crowded. Holograms floated above the long table. Images of Earth spun slowly. One leader said, "Their technology is young. We should guide them gently." Another leader disagreed. "If we do not act, they may grow beyond control." A third voice spoke calmly. "They are only beginning to explore space. We have time." Captain Voro waited for permission to speak. He cleared his throat. "Commanders, if I may share my observation." All eyes turned to him. Humans learn fast. Faster than any species I have seen. Their growth is not stable, it is explosive. They do not fear change, they chase it. His words echoed in the chamber. Still, High Command dismissed the danger. "They are children," one leader argued. "We will approach them." Orders were passed down. A small fleet would travel to Earth, announce the Dominion's presence, and demand cooperation. They expected humans to accept without resistance. On the Sky Arrow, preparation began. Officers studied human languages. Pilots cleaned their ships. Communication devices were updated, but inside the hearts of many crew members, doubt slowly crept in. During the final week of preparation, the patrol crew listened to more human broadcasts. They heard speeches about unity, progress, and working together. They watched documentaries about human history filled with determination. They saw scientists stay awake through long nights just to solve one problem. Captain Voro realized something important. Humans refused to give up. One night, Nareth stayed awake in the dark control room. He listened to a broadcast of a human child's voice singing softly. It was hopeful. It was honest. It carried a tone he could not explain. When the song ended, he whispered to himself, "They are not weak." The next morning, the Vorth fleet departed toward Earth. The ships traveled in a tight formation like a silver spear cutting through space. A giant communication relay prepared to announce their arrival. As they approached, Earth's satellites detected them. Warning alerts flashed in human control centers. Scientists, soldiers, and leaders gathered quickly. They stared at incoming signals with wide eyes. News spread across the globe like wind through a field. People filled streets looking up. Children pressed their faces to windows. Reporters spoke excitedly. Humanity had dreamed of visitors from space for many generations. Now it was real. The Vorth ships entered orbit and broadcast their message. Their leader spoke gently, asking humanity to join the Dominion peacefully. He expected fear. Instead, something surprising happened. Human nations talked, and not about surrender, but about cooperation with one another. Old disagreements were put aside. Leaders shared information instantly. Within hours, humanity formed a united response council. Engineers opened secret projects. Scientists shared files they once hid. Military groups combined strategies. Citizens volunteered to help. Humanity moved like a storm gathering energy. On the Sky Arrow, officers watched in surprise as humans responded not with panic, but with teamwork. Nareth blinked. They adapt too quickly. Captain Voro folded his arms, troubled. Perhaps High Command underestimated them. Human news screens showed calm but strong faces. Every nation spoke with one voice. Every city prepared defense networks, scanning the sky for threats. Meanwhile, humans continued the same music, the same laughter, the same passion, as if fear could not control them for long. The crew felt uneasy. The silence of the stars was broken forever. Onboard screens filled with data about human invention, strategy, and unity. Their growth was like lightning, unseen one moment, shining the next. Before leaving the control deck, Captain Voro whispered softly, "We thought we were alone, but humanity waits like a storm." Far below, billions of humans lifted their eyes, ready for whatever came next. A quiet tension fell across space. The silent stars were silent no longer. The arrival of the Vorth fleet around Earth created a wave of emotion across the human world. News agencies showed pictures of gigantic alien ships floating above the blue planet. Social media filled with videos of bright lights moving across the night sky. Some people were amazed, others were frightened, but almost everyone felt curious. Humanity had dreamed about alien visitors for centuries, and now the dream stood above their heads. Inside the United Nations building, leaders and scientists gathered in a large hall. They spoke in calm voices, but their hearts beat fast. The world had many nations, and each nation had its own language and culture. Yet today everyone spoke the same message: respond with unity. A communication officer named Sarah turned to the assembly. She pointed at a screen showing the alien message, translated as best as possible. The Vorth wanted cooperation, but their tone suggested control. "They expect us to follow," Sarah said softly. General Marcus, a tall man with gray hair, placed his hands firmly on the table. "If they expect fear, they will not find it here," he said. His voice carried strength. "We must speak, but we must also prepare." Around the world, scientists were already busy. Defense systems were updated. Satellites scanned the fleet carefully. Engineers studied every small detail shown on camera. They noticed the Vorth ships glowed with energy shields. They saw strange engine signatures. Every little clue helped. Meanwhile, citizens watched and waited. In schools, children whispered about aliens walking on Earth. In cafes, strangers shared opinions. Yet instead of panic, something else grew among humans: excitement. They were not alone anymore. Far above the planet, inside the largest Vorth flagship, Captain Voro watched human activity on his screens. He expected fear and chaos. Instead, he saw discipline and creativity. Humans built communication towers overnight. They formed peaceful protest circles, raising signs that said, "Talk, don't fight." Others volunteered to translate languages. Children drew pictures of friendly aliens. Voro did not understand such behavior. Among the Vorth, fear was common and obedience was expected. But humans responded differently. Their courage did not come from strength alone. It came from something deeper: hope. Officer Nareth studied the broadcasts. He noticed humans using humor to calm their nerves. Late-night talk shows joked about aliens hoping Earth had good food. Videos showed citizens waving flashlights at the sky. "They are strange," Nareth whispered, "but warm." The Vorth High Command, far away, watched the same broadcasts. Some commanders smiled with pride, expecting easy control. "Look how calm they are," one leader said. "They will follow us gladly." But others grew suspicious. They saw something fast moving behind the calm. Humans worked with incredible speed. Factories opened 24 hours. Software teams wrote new programs overnight. Small drones flew across cities like tiny metal birds. "They hide their strength," an older commander muttered. "We must be careful." Back on Earth, the Global Council decided on their first message to the Vorth. A diplomat named Layla was chosen to speak. She stood inside a bright room, cameras pointed at her, her voice prepared. "This is humanity," she began. "We welcome peaceful contact. We are willing to talk, but we will not surrender our freedom." Her message was sent into space. Humans watching on television cheered. They felt proud. When the Vorth received the message, Captain Voro raised an eyebrow. "They answer with confidence," he said. "They do not bow." High Command ordered Voro to send a landing team to test human reaction. The team traveled down in a sleek silver shuttle. It landed in a wide-open valley prepared by Earth's leaders. The land was surrounded by cameras, drones, and peaceful security guards. People held their breath across the world. The Vorth stepped out slowly. Their tall metallic figures glowed under bright daylight. Their eyes scanned carefully. Human diplomats walked forward calmly. They bowed lightly, showing respect. Layla spoke first, smiling gently. "Welcome to Earth." The Vorth representative spoke through a translator device. "We bring knowledge. We offer protection. Join our dominion for safety." Layla shook her head slightly. "We appreciate the offer," she said softly. "But Earth protects its own." The reply surprised the Vorth. They expected immediate agreement. They expected to see fear. Instead, they saw calm confidence. Millions of humans watching felt their hearts lift. Captain Voro received reports from the ground. He frowned. Humans spoke politely, but they clearly refused control. Their eyes showed determination. Their voice carried strength. And behind them waited thousands of defense systems. High Command sent another message. They wanted more pressure. They ordered tests to measure human reaction. Small Vorth drones flew above cities, scanning technology. They expected Earth to ignore them. Instead, humans reacted instantly. Electronic barriers blocked scanning signals within minutes. Cyber teams launched new software to redirect the drones. Scientists built jammer towers that cut forth communication. Within hours, Captain Voro and Officer Nareth stared at the reports in disbelief. "How can they create countermeasures so quickly?" Nareth asked. "Because they learn even faster than we feared," Voro answered, voice low. On Earth, research labs worked day and night. Scientists studied every piece of alien energy they detected. Engineers used 3D printers to build new devices. Mathematicians formed theories on shield frequencies. Each person contributed a piece of the puzzle. Humans did not just react. They evolved. Meanwhile, regular citizens showed their spirit. Some offered friendly waves at alien drones. Others painted welcome murals on tall buildings. Families sent messages saying, "We want peace." Yet always, hidden between friendly gestures, humans prepared defenses quietly, like a storm building behind calm clouds. In the Vorth Council room aboard the flagship, arguments broke out. "They will obey us soon," one officer said confidently. "No," another officer replied with fear. "They stand strong without weapons in their hands." "That is dangerous." Captain Voro stepped forward. His voice was even. "Humans value unity. If we push too hard, they may push back harder." High Command advisors disagreed. They believed numbers mattered most. The Vorth fleet had thousands of ships. Humanity had none beyond its planet. Logic seemed clear, but something else was happening. Human teamwork was unlike anything the Vorth had seen. The more pressure humans felt, the more united they became. Nations that once argued now shared borders peacefully. Scientists from rival institutions worked side by side. Soldiers trained with new passion. A famous human scientist named Dr. Yuki stood before a crowd in her lab. "This is our chance," she said proudly. "Not just to defend our home, but to learn from the stars." Her words spread online like wildfire. Back aboard the Sky Arrow, Officer Nareth watched more broadcasts. Children held toy rockets, dreaming of space travel. Teachers explained stars and planets. Artists painted galaxies in bright colors. This creativity confused him deeply. How can a species fight with such joy? He wondered. Captain Voro placed a hand on Nareth's shoulder. "Perhaps their strength is not only their technology," he said quietly. "Perhaps their strength is inside their hearts." Days passed. Tension grew. High Command finally announced a strict demand. Earth must accept Dominion rule within 30 hours. When the message reached humanity, the Global Council gathered once again. There was no shouting, no panic, only quiet determination. Layla spoke firmly. "We will not bow," she said. General Marcus nodded. "Prepare our response." All across Earth, lights turned on in factories and labs. Engineers tested new devices. Soldiers checked protective suits. Satellite weapons were calibrated. Every hand helped. Every mind focused. Humans did not sleep. They worked like lightning, bright, fast, unstoppable. When the final hour arrived, Captain Voro stared down at the blue planet. "Their spirit will not break," he whispered. High Command repeated their demand, and humanity answered simply, "We choose freedom." Silence filled the stars. Then something happened that shocked both sides. Earth activated a prototype shield around the planet. A soft glow spread across the atmosphere like gentle northern lights. It was imperfect, but it worked. Cameras on Vorth ships showed their scanning beams bouncing off harmlessly. Captain Voro's heart pounded. They built that in days. High Command trembled in disbelief. The first spark of conflict had ignited. Humans had shown they were not weak. They were lightning, quiet at first, then blinding, and the galaxy would never be silent again. The shield surrounding Earth shimmered softly like a curtain of colorful light. From space, the view was beautiful. But for the Vorth fleet watching, it was troubling. No young world should have been able to create such technology so quickly. Engineers aboard the flagship checked their sensors again and again, thinking their machines were malfunctioning. "Impossible," whispered a technician. "They just discovered us." Captain Voro placed both hands behind his back as he stared out the large observation window. He could see the glow wrapping around Earth like a protective blanket. "Impossible," he repeated softly, "but real." Below, on Earth's surface, factories thrummed with energy. The sound of machines echoed across metal floors. Scientists shared discoveries loudly. Tools sparked against metal as engineers welded plates and connected new circuits. Soldiers trained with new equipment. Learning faster than ever before, humanity moved with one heartbeat. Inside a lab in Tokyo, Dr. Yuki stood in front of her team. She pointed at a graph showing energy fields. "We have discovered how to disrupt their shields," she said with excitement. Her team clapped their hands. "If we can break shield frequency, we can defend our allies in space." Across the ocean, in a lab in Germany, scientists analyzed fragments of light from Vorth engines. They murmured about bending space. Meanwhile, in the United States, a young programmer named Eli wrote code that could predict enemy movement. His hands typed so quickly that his keyboard almost glowed. Humanity did not wait. Humanity learned. In secret, world leaders announced a new project, Thunder Drive. It was designed to bend space and travel from star to star, at least for short jumps. Engineers from every continent shared knowledge. Blueprints traveled through secure networks. Sleep was rare. One evening, General Marcus visited the Thunder Drive facility. He walked slowly, watching sparks fly as machines were assembled. The project leader, a kind old engineer named Amir, greeted him. "General," he said with a warm smile, "we are close." "How close?" Marcus asked. Amir pointed at a glowing core inside a metal chamber. It pulsed softly like a heartbeat. "Tonight," he answered. "We test." Marcus inhaled deeply. Tonight could change the world. Above Earth, inside the Vorth flagship, High Command advisors worried. They had already demanded surrender, but humanity refused. Signs of rapid progress frightened some. If humans continued to grow, they might become a threat, not only to the fleet but to the entire Dominion. "It is time to act," one commander said sternly. "Send stronger force," Captain Voro tried to warn them. "Pressure will only increase their speed. They do not fear challenge." But his voice was ignored. High Command sent an order. Disable Earth's shield with a controlled energy pulse. Drones lined up in orbit. Their engines glowed brighter. They prepared to release a pulse strong enough to shut down electronics across the planet. Down below, radar technicians saw the drones forming. Alerts flashed in red. "They're charging weapons," shouted a specialist. Fear spread quickly across control rooms. Diplomats tried to contact the Vorth ambassador, but the signal refused connection. The drones fired. A wave of energy raced toward Earth like a silent storm. People rushed into shelters. Lights across cities flickered. Then something bright rose from the ocean. A massive tower. It was part of Earth's shield network. Scientists had hidden it underwater for safety. The wave met the shield at the tower's top, splitting into harmless colors. The attack failed. Cheers erupted around the planet. Captain Voro watched quietly. He felt something he could not describe. Admiration, respect? Their mind is like lightning, he thought. It changes direction faster than we can study. High Command grew frustrated. They ordered a direct landing on a major city to show dominance. But humanity was ready. As landing ships approached, human drones swarmed into the sky. They created electromagnetic traps. The alien craft lost control, floating helplessly. Humans guided them gently to open fields with soft barriers to avoid harm. Even in conflict, humans acted with care. Officer Nareth watched footage of the event and felt his chest tighten. "How can they fight with kindness?" he asked. Captain Voro answered softly. "Because they protect what they love, not what they own." Days passed. Human scientists finally finished their prototype. The Thunder Drive device hummed like a song beneath metal surfaces. Amir stood before his team, holding a small remote. "We jumped to our own moon," he announced. "Just 10 seconds. Engineers nodded nervously. He pressed the button. The test ship shimmered, vanished into bright light, then reappeared near the moon, wrapped in a halo of blue energy. Cameras captured the moment. Across Earth, people cheered. Children watched screens with wide eyes. Humanity had entered the stars. General Marcus received the reports. His eyes shined. "We are ready," he whispered. Soon after, Earth launched the first fleet. Small, fast ships equipped with Thunder Drive streaked across the night sky. They jumped between stars like sparks dancing on metal. Their target, small Dominion outposts near the border. The outposts were guarded by only a few ships. They did not expect attack. Human fleets appeared suddenly, disabling shields using Dr. Yuki's research. They cut power with precise electromagnetic pulses. No ships were destroyed. Human soldiers entered peacefully, speaking calmly. "We offer freedom," they said to alien workers. The aliens trembled at first, then cried with relief. They had lived under fear. Humanity gave them hope. When news reached High Command, panic spread. This was not a small species. This was a movement. Rumors began to spread throughout alien space. They strike fast. They learn even faster. They are gentle, but unstoppable. Some whispered a new phrase, the Thunderborn. Back aboard the Vorth flagship, officers gathered around a hollow table. Red lights blinked on captured outposts. Young Officer Kava spoke with worry. "If this continues, they will reach the capital systems." Voro nodded slowly. "Not with force," he said. "But with hearts," Nerith added. "They help others. That makes allies stronger than fear." Outside, human fleets continued lightning-style attacks. They didn't destroy. They disabled. They freed. They repaired. More and more worlds joined them. In one system, alien miners dropped tools and hugged human soldiers, thanking them. In another, students waved handmade flags, cheering. Humanity became a symbol of hope. Many Vorth citizens saw broadcasts of these events and felt confused. Why did humans share food? Why did humans repair buildings? Why did they give medical care to strangers? High Command tried to silence broadcasts, but allies protected them. Inside their council chamber, the leaders argued loudly. "We must respond with more force," one insisted. "No," another shouted. "More force brings more unity among humans." Captain Voro stood silently. He felt the storm building. Humanity was not conquering territory. Humanity was winning hearts. Meanwhile, Earth prepared another surprise. Amir and Dr. Yuki presented a new device. Thunder Shield, portable and adaptable. It could defend small fleets anywhere. They planned to protect newly freed allies with these shields. Humanity would not let old empires threaten new friends. When the first Thunder Shield activated in orbit of a freed planet, alien crowds cheered so loudly that microphones shook. General Marcus smiled. "We are not alone anymore," he said. A message then reached Earth from distant space. It was from aliens who wanted help. They were peaceful farmers suffering under Dominion commands. They asked for support, not weapons. They needed food and medicine. Human fleets delivered aid within days. Alien children stared as humans unpacked boxes of fruit, blankets, and tools. They reached out and touched the gifts carefully, then smiled bright like sunrise. Captain Voro watched the footage with deep emotion. "No empire can stop that," he whispered. High Command finally realized they were facing something far beyond weapons. They were facing a united spirit, and humanity was spreading that spirit across the stars. Yet a new order came from High Command. Prepare the largest fleet. Thousands of ships. They believed numbers would crush lightning, but Captain Voro felt worry in his bones. Lightning did not fear storms. Lightning lived inside storms. Officer Nerith looked at space maps showing human activity. He whispered, "The silent stars are awake. Soon, the biggest space battle ever seen would arrive, and humanity would be waiting. Faster than thought. Brighter than fear. Lightning had struck, and it had only begun." When the Dominion's largest fleet prepared for war, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. Star charts across command rooms lit up with thousands of glowing symbols. Every symbol represented a ship: huge battleships, heavy cruisers, shield carriers, and drone swarms. Never before had the Dominion gathered so much power in one place. High Command leaders stood before a giant projection showing Earth's growing influence. Their faces were serious, their voices sharp. "We must stop them now," one leader declared. "If humanity continues, half of our controlled worlds may ask for freedom." Another leader pointed at reports. "They free planets without destroying anything. They help worlds rebuild. Their kindness spreads faster than our rules." A cold silence followed. Everyone in the chamber felt the same fear. The oldest fear of rulers. Losing control through peaceful ideas. On the flagship, Captain Voro read the orders sent from High Command. His shoulders grew heavy. "All ships will move toward the free border worlds," he said slowly. "We will stop humanity's expansion." Officer Nerith felt worry in his heart. "Captain, what if we lose?" Voro turned his glowing eyes toward him. "This is not about losing ships," he said softly. "This is about losing the galaxy's belief." Far away aboard a human command ship named Aurora, General Marcus and diplomat Layla studied the incoming fleet reports. Their faces were calm, but everyone around them felt the tension like heavy air. "That is their greatest weapon," Marcus said. "Fear," Layla nodded. "But fear will not lead us. We will answer with unity." Around the room, screens showed dozens of free worlds transmitting messages of support. Each world offered something: food shipments, engineers, pilots, medical crews. Humanity had not built an empire. Humanity had built a friendship network. "We cannot let the Dominion crush our new allies," Layla said. "If their fleet reaches those planets," Marcus cut in gently, "they will not reach them." He turned toward a glowing model of the Thunder Drive. It pulsated brightly, like a heartbeat of lightning. Meanwhile, in space near a small mining system, a Vorth scout fleet patrolled nervously. They expected human attacks, yet the stars remained calm. Without warning, space bent like ripples on water. Bright streaks appeared, and human ships emerged from folded space with thunder-like flashes. The Vorth fleet panicked. Their shields activated too late. Human ships disabled engines with pinpoint pulses. Soldiers boarded, offering peaceful terms. Again, no destruction. Again, kindness. The freed miners cheered, crying tears of joy. They reached out to shake human hands. Word spread like wind through the Dominion. Passengers in space stations whispered, "They strike fast. They break no homes. They offer food and healing." People who once accepted fear now dreamed of hope. Back in the Dominion's capital, citizens watched illegal broadcasts of human aid efforts. Parents showed their children videos of humans fixing broken homes. Shopkeepers watched humans repairing farming fields. Many felt their hearts warm. High Command ordered all broadcasts blocked. But like lightning, humans always found a path. Small transmitter devices carried signals through empty space. News reached every shadow. A growing number of Dominion citizens asked quietly, "Why don't our leaders give like that?" High Command became more nervous. Inside the Aurora, Dr. Yuki and Engineer Amir prepared new thunder shields. They placed devices on allied stations and orbiting colonies. These shields shimmered like soft blue bubbles. One by one, free worlds became safer. Suddenly, a huge alarm flashed across every human screen. The Dominion's main fleet had jumped into space near the Kira system, a peaceful world that recently joined humanity. Thousands of red icons appeared. General Marcus's eyes grew sharp. "They are headed for Kira. We cannot let them reach it." Human fleet commanders spoke across holographic screens, faces lit by deep shadows. "Prepare thunder jumps. Defensive formation Beta 2. No collateral damage." Engineers activated the Thunder Drive core. The ships hummed louder, vibrating with controlled power. The Aurora's crew held their breath. Then, flash. Human ships streaked across space like bolts of white and blue lightning. They arrived at the Kira system within seconds. The Dominion superfleet appeared minutes later, dark like a storm cloud. Massive weapons glowed red on their sides. Shield carriers formed walls of energy. Drone swarms darkened light. Alien civilians on Kira watched from windows, terrified. General Marcus opened communication. His voice was stern but calm. "Turn back. These people have chosen freedom." Admiral Reth, commander of the Dominion fleet, answered in a cold tone. "Freedom is dangerous. Order prevents chaos." Layla stepped forward on the screen. "Order without kindness is only fear," Admiral Reth scoffed. "Your hearts will break when our numbers crush your ships." He cut communication. Every ship in the Dominion fleet prepared weapons. The battle was seconds away. General Marcus breathed deeply. "Everyone ready." The human fleet spread apart like raindrops weaving through space. Their engines glowed like stars. In the command room, Eli monitored enemy weapon patterns. Dr. Yuki adjusted pulse frequencies. Amir calibrated thunder shields. Boom, energy beams surged across space. Explosions flashed like fireworks. Human ships dodged and twisted, moving faster than Dominion computers predicted, faster than logic, faster than fear. Thunder shields deflected beams. Electromagnetic pulses disabled heavy weapons. Drone swarms lost control when Eli hacked their command signals. Dominion officers panicked. "How do they adapt so quickly?" they shouted. Human ships jumped short distances repeatedly, blinking across the battlefield like bright sparks. They struck power cores gently, disabling engines without harm. Each disabled ship floated harmlessly, safe from explosion. Alien captains inside those ships could hardly believe it. They could destroy us, one whispered, but they choose not to. The battle changed hearts. Meanwhile, Admiral Reth grew desperate. He ordered his largest weapon, a planetary breaker cannon. "We will fire on Kira," he shouted. "Let fear teach them." Captain Voro heard the order from his separate ship. His heart froze. Firing on civilians was against everything honorable. He stood up quickly.
"Cancel that order."
Civilians live there, but his message was ignored. Fire began to build at the cannon's core. Down on Kira, children screamed. Parents hugged loved ones. Light built in the sky. General Marcus's voice thundered across the human fleet. "Protect the civilians!" All human energy redirected. Thunder drives surged, powering a combined shield. A massive dome of light covered the planet. The cannon fired. A storm of white fire crashed against the shield. Human ships shook violently. Sparks rained across command decks. People fell to the floor. "Maintain," Marcus shouted. Pain shot through systems. Warning alarms screamed, but the shield held. When the fire faded, the planet still shone below. On the Dominion fleets, silence spread. Officers stared, trembling. They had never seen such bravery. Admiral Reth collapsed into his seat. His voice wavered. "Impossible." They risked everything. For strangers. Captain Voro watched, eyes wide. "They protect like family," he whispered. His loyalty to the Dominion cracked. Then something brighter happened. Alien worlds watching secretly began to rise. Rebellions broke out peacefully. Citizens marched, holding signs of hope. Leaders on distant planets declared independence, inspired by humanity's courage. One message flashed across Dominion channels repeatedly. "We want what they have, freedom." High Command panicked, sending frantic orders. But messages were ignored. Human fleet commanders offered surrender terms politely. "You will not be harmed. Join us in peace." One by one, Dominion captains lowered shields. Drones powered down. Frightened crews sat quietly. Their hearts were tired of fear. Admiral Reth bowed his head. His voice broke. "Perhaps kindness is stronger than control." He ordered his fleet to cease fire. The battle ended without further harm. Alien children on Kira cheered. Families waved brightly colored flags. Human soldiers delivered medical aid and food. Thirsty citizens lined up for water from friendly hands. Captain Voro walked among them, stunned. He removed his helmet, letting soft wind touch his metal skin plates. A little alien child hugged his leg gently. His eyes softened. Something inside him changed forever. Up above, Layla broadcast across the stars. "We do not seek to rule," she said. "We seek to protect. We want to help you stand." Millions listened. Millions believed. High Command felt their power slipping. Their control weakened not by weapons but by hearts. The Dominion, once feared, now trembled, and every citizen whispered the same phrase. "Humanity strikes like lightning and warms like sunlight." But the final battle had not yet arrived. The capital world still waited. The sky above the Dominion's capital world darkened with thousands of ships. Massive weapons glowed red across the void, and countless drones moved like a living swarm. The fleet had come to end humanity's influence once and for all. High Command believed that with overwhelming power, fear would return to the galaxy. On the Aurora, General Marcus stood with his hands behind his back. He studied the incoming fleet calmly, though his heart pounded like a drum. Around him, fleet commanders coordinated final positions. "Stay calm," Marcus said softly. "We do not fight to destroy. We fight to protect." Layla nodded beside him. "Every ship here knows the cost of kindness," she said, "and the power of unity." Across the galaxy, freed planets prepared as well. Small fleets joined the human armada, carrying supplies, shields, and pilots. Civilians worked tirelessly, building defenses, repairing ships, and sending messages of encouragement. Humanity had become more than a species. It was a force of hope. Above the capital world, the Dominion fleet advanced steadily. Alien citizens watched from their cities, curious and frightened. They had lived under fear for generations. Now they watched something different, an approaching storm of light. Captain Voro stood on the bridge of a Dominion battleship. He had watched the past battles closely and felt a change in his heart. Humans were not like other species. They adapted, they protected, and they inspired. He turned to Officer Nereth. "They are not just ships," Voro said quietly. "They are lightning. They strike with speed, but their heart is unshakable. Nereth nodded slowly. And we cannot stop lightning with fear alone. The Dominion opened fire first. Energy beams streaked toward human positions. Alarms blared across human command ships. Engineers rushed to adjust shields. Thunder drives activated, folding space repeatedly to avoid heavy fire. Human ships moved unpredictably, dodging with precision, striking weak points without destroying the enemy. Across the battlefield, Dominion officers gasped in disbelief. The humans moved faster than their computers could predict. Every attack they planned was countered almost immediately. One Dominion cruiser fired a massive pulse directly at a human strike fleet. Human ships blinked across space, leaving after images in the sensors. The pulse hit empty space. The cruiser's weapons overheated, forcing them to shut down. On board Aurora, Eli grinned at his screen. "It's like dancing with lightning," he said. Engineers laughed despite the tension. General Marcus spoke calmly into the intercom. "Keep positions. Protect the civilians. Strike only where necessary." The human strategy was simple, yet brilliant. Minimize harm, maximize protection. The fleet avoided planetary cities. Weapons disabled engines, not people. Soldiers boarded Dominion ships only to speak, heal, or offer guidance. As the battle raged, Dominion morale began to crack. Alien citizens on their ships whispered to each other. "Why did they not destroy us?" "They are not cruel," a young officer whispered. "They fight with mercy." Across space, reports from liberated worlds reinforced the image of humanity. Entire planets sent cheers, aid, and ships to join the human armada. The storm of lightning was not alone. It had grown into a tidal wave. The Dominion, once feared as unstoppable, now trembled. High Command sent their largest weapon yet, a colossal orbital cannon capable of leveling cities in a single blast. Captain Voro's eyes widened. He knew the weapon could destroy entire human fleets. He tried to warn High Command. "This will not work," he said. "It will unite them further. They will strike faster and worse than you can imagine." But his words were ignored. The cannon charged, red light bleeding across space. Citizens on the capital world panicked. Alarm bells rang in every city. On Aurora, General Marcus called out, "Prepare the thunder shields. Protect every fleet and ally planet." Ships powered the new shield systems. The light spread like a giant bubble, covering ships, moons, and stations. Energy from the cannon struck the shield and split into harmless streams of color. It was the first time a human device had stopped the Dominion's heaviest weapon. Captain Voro watched the explosion reflected across the shields. His chest tightened. "They are unstoppable," he whispered. The battle intensified. Human fleets jumped repeatedly, striking supply lines and power cores. Thunder drives allowed them to appear where they were least expected. Dominion fleets tried to predict movements, but humans adapted with blinding speed. Meanwhile, on the capital world, civilians took part in their own battle. Families sent messages of support to human soldiers. Children drew pictures of hope, and schools transmitted signals to distract Dominion sensors. Everywhere, humans and allies worked together. The Dominion's fleets grew desperate. Their largest ships fired uncontrollably. Chaos spread across command bridges. Many ships surrendered after encountering humans who offered safety and guidance. Entire fleets that once enforced fear now moved quietly under human advice. Admiral Reth, commander of the main Dominion armada, realized his fleet could no longer fight effectively. "We cannot win," he said, voice low. "They're too fast, too clever, too united." Captain Voro, standing beside him, added softly, "They fight not to destroy but to protect. That is why they cannot be defeated." Humans closed in on the Dominion capital. Their fleet now glowed with a combination of thunder drives and shield energy, bright as a sunrise. Ships surrounded the capital world, creating a net that prevented further attacks. General Marcus opened a final communication channel to High Command. His voice was firm yet calm. "This is humanity. We do not seek your destruction. We ask only for peace. Surrender and your people will be safe. Refuse and the world will suffer, though we will still protect all civilians." Admiral Reth looked around at his trembling officers. Citizens aboard ships whispered, "They are kind, even in war." High Command finally agreed to the terms. Weapons deactivated, drones powered down, and the fleet floated silently. The largest fleet in Dominion history had surrendered. On the capital world, humans entered peacefully. Soldiers guided civilians to safety. Engineers repaired damaged infrastructure. Medical teams treated injuries. Everywhere, humans acted with patience and compassion. Captain Voro watched from his ship as humans helped alien citizens rebuild. A young child reached out to touch his arm and he froze, unsure of what to do. The child laughed softly. Voro realized in that moment that the Dominion had lost more than a battle. It had lost fear as a tool of control. Layla's voice echoed across the system. We are not rulers. We are partners. We fight to protect, not to conquer. Together we can create a galaxy free of fear. The message spread through the Dominion, reaching systems far beyond the capital. Citizens celebrated quietly, knowing their leaders would no longer force obedience through terror. Humans continued their work, but they never celebrated destruction. They repaired, rebuilt, and offered hope. Planets freed from Dominion control flourished. Trade resumed. Schools opened. Scientists and engineers shared knowledge freely. Humanity's example reshaped entire cultures. Captain Voro stood in silence. For decades he had served the Dominion, believing in control and fear. Now he saw a different power: unity, courage, and compassion. He lowered his head. They are the storm and the light, he whispered. High command remained, but their influence was gone. Citizens were free to choose. And everywhere the phrase repeated quietly, if danger comes again, look to the humans. They strike like lightning and protect like family. General Marcus and Layla stood aboard the Aurora, watching as humans and aliens worked together. Marcus smiled. We did it together. Layla nodded. The galaxy has changed forever, and it will never be the same. From orbit, Earth looked small and peaceful. Thunder drives glowed in the docks. Ships rested. Cities hummed with life. Children laughed. Music played. Humans had defended their world not with fear but with speed, intelligence, and kindness. The silent stars, once quiet and lonely, were now alive with light. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Even the smallest species, united and determined, could strike like lightning and inspire hope across the stars. The storm had passed. The world was safe. The stars waited, but now humanity was ready to meet them, not as conquerors, but as protectors. And somewhere in the quiet of space, Captain Voro whispered, "They were never alone, and neither are we."